Welcome back to Empowering Your Finance. This is our deep dive into retirement planning education, and today, well, we're zeroing in on understanding your retirement options.
That's right. It's such a critical topic for everyone, really.
It absolutely is. And planning for retirement, it can feel a bit daunting, maybe even overwhelming sometimes.
Oh, definitely. There seem to be so many choices, so many factors.
Exactly. So our goal today is to kind of cut through that complexity. We want to simplify things, clarify those basic choices you'll likely face.
We'll be using materials from Retirement Planning Education, Empowering Your Finance as our guide.
Yes, drawing on their insights. And our mission, it's pretty straightforward. Just give you a clear handle on the main retirement options and, the key things to think about as you plan your own future.
It really boils down to making this whole process feel more manageable, taking the key takeaways from these, empowering your finance resources, and presenting them clearly.
Okay, so let's jump in. The Empowering Your Finance info starts with the basics. What actually is retirement planning education? What does that mean?
Well, fundamentally, retirement planning is about figuring out how much income you'll need when you stop working full-time.
Okay. Setting those goals.
Setting the goals, yes, and then mapping out the steps to actually reach them. It involves a few key things.
Like what?
First, you need to identify where your income might come from in retirement, your income sources.
Makes sense.
Then you really need a realistic estimate of your expenses. What will you actually be spending?
Right. That's crucial.
And of course, it means saving consistently now and also managing your assets and any risks effectively over the long haul.
So it's definitely more involved than just, say, putting some money in a savings account. It's about understanding that whole future financial picture.
It really is. And empowering your finance makes a strong point here. Having that solid base of financial knowledge, that education, it's pretty much the foundation for a comfortable retirement.
Without it, you're kind of flying blind.
In a way, yes. It's much harder to navigate all the options and make choices that are truly right for you if you don't understand the fundamentals. It's about giving yourself the knowledge you need.
Okay, so let's talk about that transition, moving from working life into retirement. I think a lot of us, we have this sort of ideal vision, right? Freedom, travel, hobbies.
Sure, that's the dream for many. But the practical side is, how do you actually fund that dream? How do you make it happen financially?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, sometimes literally.
And that's where the planning part is so vital. It's not just one moment of stopping work. It's really a whole series of decisions leading up to it and afterwards, too.
And Empowering Your Finance asks this really direct question. Can you afford to retire?
Mm-hmm. That question forces you to think about related things, too, like, is retiring early even feasible? Or maybe you need or want to keep working in some way.
It really forces you to get realistic.
Absolutely. And the very first step in answering that big question, according to these resources, is taking a really hard look at your expected income sources for retirement.
And matching that against your estimated needs, right?
Exactly. Getting that clear view of your future financial situation. So maybe we should start digging into those potential income streams.
Good idea. Where should we begin?
Well, a major one for most retirees in the U.S. is Social Security.
Right. Empowering Your Finance. Finance points out it's a huge chunk of retirement income for many, many people. Something most of us pay into our whole working lives.
And it's important to understand roughly how it works. The materials explain that your benefit amount is based on your earnings history, how long you worked.
Okay.
But here's a really key point they highlight. When you decide to start taking your benefits, makes a big difference to your monthly payment.
How so?
Well, for instance, you can start as early as 62, but your payment will be lower than if you wait until your full retirement age or even later up to age 70.
So there's a trade-off.
A significant one. Delaying your claim, say from 62 all the way to 70, could actually boost your monthly benefit by something like 76%. That's a massive difference.
Wow, okay. So that timing decision isn't trivial at all. It's a strategic choice.
Very much so. It needs careful consideration based on your health, other savings, your spouse's situation, lots of factors.
Got it. Now, the resources also mention another type of retirement income defined benefit plans. We usually call them traditional pensions, right?
Yes, exactly. Pensions. Empowering Your Finance explains these are plans where your employer basically promises to pay you a specific, predictable income when you retire.
Like a guaranteed paycheck in retirement.
Sort of, yeah. Unlike, say, a 401k, where the amount depends on contributions and investment performance, a pension promises a set benefit.
But the materials also note these aren't as common as they used to be.
That's a really important point they make, yes. Fewer private sector employers offer traditional pensions now. They've largely shifted towards defined contribution plans, like 401ks.
Which puts more of the responsibility and the risk on the employee, doesn't it?
It generally does, yes. With a 401k, you're making the investment decisions, and your final amount depends on how well those investments do. Pensions removed that uncertainty for the employee.
So while 401ks and IRAs are huge parts of the picture for most people today, and maybe we can touch on those another time, these resources are focusing on the fundamentals, including understanding pensions if you happen to have one.
Exactly. If you are one of the fortunate ones covered by a pension, it's a key part of your income puzzle, and understanding its basics is important.
Okay. So we've covered Social Security and pensions as potential income. What else do the empowering your finance materials stress we need to consider?
Well, moving beyond just the income side, they really emphasize other critical factors for a secure retirement, and one of the absolute biggest is health insurance.
Healthcare costs. That's a huge concern for people heading into retirement.
It really is. As the resources mention, staying healthy is obviously important always, but it takes on maybe an even greater focus in retirement.
You hope to have more time for preventative care, perhaps.
Yes, and just realistically, the chances of needing more medical care, prescriptions, treatments tend to go up as we get older.
So having good health insurance is non-negotiable, really.
Absolutely vital. Empowering your finance puts it simply. Staying healthy is a primary goal, and having solid insurance coverage is fundamental to that and to your financial security.
Makes total sense. Now, it's not just income and health, is it? The materials also talk about other factors, things that can kind of derail your plans if you don't account for them.
That's right. They highlight several potential risks that can significantly impact your retirement income, things you might overlook in day-to-day planning.
Okay, like what kind of risks are we talking about?
Well, first, there's investment risk. The chance your savings won't grow as much as you hoped or even lose value.
Right, the market doesn't always go up.
Exactly. Then there's inflation risk. This is a big one. The risk that the cost of living will rise over time, eroding the purchasing power of your savings.
So the money you save doesn't buy as much later on.
Precisely. Think about it. Even modest inflation, say 3% a year, means something costing $100 today would cost almost $180 in 20 years.
Yeah.
Over a long retirement, that adds up significantly.
That really puts it in perspective. What else?
The potential for a catastrophic illness, something major and unexpected that comes with huge medical bills, even with insurance.
A scary thought.
It is. And related to that, the potential need for long-term care like assisted living or nursing home care, which can be incredibly expensive.
Okay.
And finally, they mention taxes. You need to understand how your retirement income, withdrawals from saving Social Security benefits, will be taxed. It affects your actual spendable income.
Wow, that's quite a list. Investment risk, inflation, major illness, long-term care, taxes. It really highlights that planning needs to be pretty comprehensive.
It absolutely does. It's not enough just to save. You have to think about protecting those savings and making sure they'll last and cover these potential hurdles.
So understanding these risks is key to not having your retirement vision disrupted.
Definitely. Being aware allows you to plan strategies to mitigate them as much as possible.
Now, empowering your finance doesn't just lay out the challenges, right? They also point towards resources to help people navigate all this.
That's right. They mention their magazine on Flipboard, for example. It's a place to find, current articles, stories, news about retirement planning, staying informed.
That sounds useful for keeping up to date.
Yeah, things change, rules, strategies, market conditions, so staying current is important. They also mention having a retirement planning glossary available.
Well, that could be handy. Sometimes the jargon can be confusing.
It really can. So a glossary helps you understand the terminology, which is empowering in itself.
And they also offer a newsletter.
Yes, a newsletter designed to deliver resources, strategies, tools, expert tips, that kind of thing, directly to people.
So ways to continue learning and get ongoing support.
Exactly. Because retirement planning isn't really a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Using resources like these helps you stay engaged and informed.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. Looking back at everything we've discussed from the empowering your finance materials, it feels like the core message is that understanding your options is really the essential first step.
Absolutely. You can't make good decisions without understanding the landscape. Knowing the potential income sources, being aware of the risks, knowing where to find help, that's the foundation.
It empowers you to start building that secure future everyone hopes for.
It does. It allows you to take control of the process.
And maybe as people listen to this, they can start thinking about their own vision for retirement. We mentioned that idea of bliss earlier, borrowing Betty Sullivan's word. What does bliss look like for you?
That's a great question to ponder.
And how do these options, Social Security timing, pensions if you have them, managing risks like inflation, how do they fit into making that personal vision of bliss achievable?
Understanding the tools and options helps you build the bridge from where you are now to that desired future.
Betty Sullivan's full quote was something like, "There is a whole new kind of life ahead, full of experiences just waiting to happen." Some call it retirement. I call it bliss. It's a nice thought, isn't it?
It really is very positive framing.
So understanding your options is that first critical step towards finding your own version of retirement bliss.
Well said. And we'd certainly encourage listeners to check out those Empowering Your Finance resources. We mentioned the magazine, the glossary, the newsletter to keep learning and planning.
Definitely. Take those next steps for your own future.